Payton Pritchard, someone who broke out last season, much to the surprise of probably most of us, to the level at which he broke out anyway. Coming into this season, Boston, a lot of changes, some forced, some not. Jason Tatum obviously gone for the season. Drew Holiday gone via trade. Kristaps Porzingis gone via trade. So, look, there's a lot of touches to go around. Payton Pritchard proved last season, I think, that he can handle a bigger role. Now, the acquisition of Anthony Simons, that raised a few questions, but the word out of Boston, and I mean, we'll know more in less than a week, I would imagine, once the preseason starts. Word out of Boston is that Pritchard will start over Anthony Simons, and it actually doesn't sound like Simons is someone they're prioritising in terms of long-term value. They may play him if we want to talk about the whole showcase. I mean, is it real? It's probably not. But look, I think Pritchard makes sense. He's the guy they've invested in. He's sort of waited for his time to come, and his time has come. So let's start with last season, as we normally do with these player spotlights. 78th ranked player in 9 category leagues in 28.4 minutes a game. So now he started the season amazing. He was a top 30, top 40 player for a stretch, cooled off, not to the point where he was someone we were dropping, but the production certainly slowed a little towards the back end of the season. He finished with averages of 14.3 points, almost 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal, give or take, 3.2 threes, 84% from the line, and 47 from the field. So what's he going to do this season? Well, for starters, his minutes are going to go up. I think whether you love him or hate him, you would have to agree that his minutes will go up. So he was at 28.4, as I said, last season. Surely that goes up into the low 30s, 32 to 33, probably best case. I don't think they're going to stretch anyone too hard, but I also do think that Boston, despite the fact that their front court rotation is pretty disgusting at the moment, the backcourt that they have Jaylen Brown, they have Derek White, they have Payton Pritchard, they have Anthony Simons, they've got Sam Hauser there. So, yeah, look, I mean, they've got some scoring. So the East is pretty bad. They're going to win games. So I think that, I think Pritchard is going to play a pretty big role. He will be, I mean, would you say that he is, Jaylen Brown will be option number 1, Pritchard number 2, White number 2? I know White obviously does a lot more both ends of the field, the court, that sort of thing. But yeah, look, maybe Pritchard is option number 2 at times. So what do we see from his stats? 20 points a game. I think that's probably the top end of what we could see. I would say 19. He's a decent rebounder despite being quite small. So he's probably, I mean, if we want to round up and just sort of make this easier, 25 and 5 with a steal. That's pretty good. Percentages aren't terrible. Now he's not awesome, but 47 for a guy that could get you 3.5 threes a game. Could he push to 4? Maybe. Very good from the free throw line. Doesn't get there a lot, but maybe those attempts go up a little bit with him needing to do more on the offensive end. So, yeah, look, I think probably his ceiling, if we want to look at fantasy value. Now, obviously, unlike some of the other players I've done, he doesn't offer a lot on the defensive end. So he is very reliant on scoring threes, assists to a lesser extent. I would say his ceiling, you're probably looking at 3rd round, like top 35. But he was a 78th ranked player last year in those 28 minutes, and just bumping that up, doing the math, you think that would be his floor, top 80. He's probably his floor, top 35, as I said, ceiling, but I think probably sits in that top 50, top 60 range. And at the moment, his ADP is in the 80s, high 70s, depending on where you're drafting. So I think people are a little bit cautious on him. I guess even though he had a good year last year, you could say that he is unproven. So there's some concern, which I think is warranted. but he is someone, again, points late in drafts, hard to get. So if he's sitting there when you're in what's the 80s, the 8th round, that sort of range, I'd absolutely consider him. I know there are some risks when it comes to shutdown, but I think if Boston were to have a pecking order of guys they're going to shut down, I think Jaylen Brown, Derek White are at the top of that. Simons, we don't know. He may not even be there come mid-season. I think they're just going to let Pritchard play. I think, as I said, this is his opportunity to really prove himself with no Jason Tatum there. So I'm high enough on him that I think if he is available in the 6th round, the highest I would probably go on him, probably a little bit build dependent, but if you're just looking for, as we've said, points, assists, threes, he's good in all those traditional guard categories. I'd probably go as high as 60, but based on what we're seeing, I think you can get him in the 70s or even 80s, and I would absolutely consider him there.